Yes, okay, let me share my screen first and hope you can see something.
Yep.
Yes, can
Yep.
see?
Good.
Good,
Yes.
excellent. All right, yeah, hello. Yes, my name is Benjamin Seide, actually. My colleague Ben Slater unfortunately couldn't make it. He was supposed to join, but there was some university emergency. We're both from the School of Art, Design, Media, as Graham already introduced nicely. So I'm presenting our research into creating a virtual, what we call cinematic heritage experience for a lost film, the film Pontianak from 1957. To give you a quick overview of the project, our initial research began in 2019, and we investigated a couple of questions. The primary questions: firstly, in film heritage, how do you bring to life that which is apparently lost? And secondly, can accomplishments in cultural heritage, such as the creation of virtual environments of historic sites and advancements in game development, such as inhabiting virtual environments with actors and stories, be utilized for the benefit of creating virtual cinematic heritage? Okay, not going forward. Here. And thirdly, in previous years, motion capture alternatives have become available that promise comparable results to high-end systems for a fraction of the cost. And that generates the question, are smaller academic research teams, non-commercial projects, and artists in reaching distance of creating realistic acting digital humans? Okay, today I will present a brief overview of our findings, share our research in using this low-cost performance capture system, a little bit technical, hopefully not too much, and of course I will share some results of the VR experience. Let me start by giving you a little bit more background of the film's history. Pontianak was released in April '57, a feature film produced by KC Kara Studios in Singapore during the peak period of the Malay language film industry in pre-independent Singapore. The film was a huge box office hit, and a sequel was rushed out in the same year. Between 1957 and '65, the two largest film studios in Singapore produced a total of 7 Pontianak films, so 6 follow-ups. Just to give you a perspective how popular that character, that topic became. Today, the film Pontianak is commonly accepted to be lost, as there has been no record of existing copies in any media since its initial release. The same is true of its sequel, Dendam Pontianak, which translates to Return of the Pontianak. The existing bird film, here is a snippet, Sumpah Pontianak, translates to Curse of the Pontianak, was released in April '58, just 8 months after the second film and 12 months after the first film. Sumpah can be considered a key reference, as film sets were reused and the director and actress are still the same. Pontianak was inspired by rural Malayan folk tales about various ghosts, demons, and creatures, the most famous being the titular Pontianak, a vampiric female being who was wildly believed in, and to some parts still is in Singapore and Malaysia. The first film is the origin story of the Pontianak. Chomel, a deformed girl, uses magic to become beautiful, and then when she drinks the blood of her husband, becomes the Pontianak before going on a murderous rampage. All 3 roles were played by the lead actress, Maria Menado, seen here in makeup, being transformed into the Pontianak. Very little was known of the storyline of the film from start to end, so our initial focus was on unearthing the actual synopses and gain as much knowledge as possible of the first 2 films. One breakthrough came when we found from one collector, or we managed to get hold of one promotional booklet from 1957 through one collector. And then through these documents and many newspaper reviews, interviews with some of the cast who are still alive, we were able to piece together the fullest picture of the film's main plot lines so far and the most dramatic scenes. A key moment in the film is the so-called snakebite scene. Beautiful Chomel is walking with her husband Otman through the Kampong village. Kampong is a traditional Malayan village. He's bitten by a snake and demands she drains the poison from his neck. In doing so, she drinks his blood and becomes the Pontianak for the first time. She's cursed, right, through the magic beauty thingy, and she can't get in touch with human blood. It has been reported that this moment was deeply suspenseful and terrifying for the audience who had never seen anything like that in a local film. Based on these findings, we decided to experiment with reenacting the snakebite scene as a VR walk-in movie scene. We started our process by building the environment, a virtual Kampong village, which consists of around 10 different houses. The houses take visual reference from those seen in Sumpah Pontianak, the third film, but are not exact replications. Here is an overview of our 3D village. On the right is the path leading into the jungle where the snakebite scene is supposed to play out. Here are some more details, chickens running around and some clothes hanging to dry. We created 3D character models of the Pontianak, Beautiful Chomel, and her husband. An initial approximation of Beautiful Chomel was designed on the left side, which then served as a foundation for the sculpting of the Pontianak face in the middle, and there already with some cloths. Okay, coming to the performance capture. We had two systems available to evaluate. The first system is a camera-based system from Vicon, which is a permanent setup in our facilities. It's not the latest system, but it still produces good results. It was hugely expensive when it was originally bought, and it is of course limited to the studio space, which is not that large, and the capture volume is maybe 4 by 4 meters. The second system is a sensor-based suit from Rococo, a small Danish company, which is considered an entry-level, low-cost alternative. The sensor-based suit can be used anywhere, given that you don't have magnetic interference, which can cause issues. And all that is needed is a wireless router and a laptop. We can go anywhere. We measured a reach of around 40 meters around the router. Very good. Yeah, as we pictured our two main actors walking and talking in a very large area for the snakebite scene, the portable sensor-based system appeared more practical for our use case. The story of the walk-in movie is super simple. The viewer can walk and look around freely in the village, and at one point the couple will leave one of the houses and start their walk on a predefined path, here in red, to the snakebite location. Here is an early test already conducted outside on the sports fields. That's me falling on the grass. The falling down was challenging for both systems. We tested that with a camera-based system as well. There's lots of occlusion happening. Yeah. Okay, we went then on to capture the performance with our two actors, two young theater actors playing Chomel and her husband. Here is the entire 4-minute long scene with both actors in motion capture suits, captured in one continuous long take. The entire area is around 40 by 25 meters. And we translated the village map with checkpoints and markers so that the actors know where to walk. The next step was, after the body capture, to record the voiceover and simultaneously to capture the facial expressions. There is a phone to capture the face. Next is a short clip of body and facial capture merged together, including some sound.
A kind old man found me in the jungle when I was an infant. I was abandoned far from the village. That's where he lived.
Why would your parents do such a terrible thing?
I must have frightened them.
But how?
Okay, moving on. Okay, so we ran into many issues using this low-cost systems. The first issue is the sensor-based system has no absolute position in world space, meaning that the real and the virtual do not necessarily match. This can be fixed in post. Obviously, this clip is before the repositioning and scaling, right? It means, although we mapped everything out, it meant that the characters were still walking through buildings and everything. The second, more concerning issue is that the data from the walking performance requires a lot of manual cleanup, especially in the walking, and our entire clip was walking. Findings from capturing the snakebite scene were directly applied to a motion capture session of a second, much simpler, shorter reenactment scene, in which the Pontianak ravages a victim and, once discovered by the viewer, so a little bit interactivity, runs away, leaving the blood-drained victim plummeting to the ground. And because this required only an area of 4 by 3 meters, we were able to capture the performance with both systems. In regard to the accuracy of the motion capture data and the perceived realism, the camera-based studio system unsurprisingly outperformed the sensor-based suit in all three: stationary, falling, and running performance actions. The sensor-based suit still showed many inaccuracies in the walking and falling, but showed some promise in stationary performance. And based on these findings, we decided to further investigate if the sensor-based suit would produce really good results if the actor were kept stationary. This is for a smaller side projects where the Pontianak plays an important role. 20 short performances, including standing, sitting, and lying, were captured with a single actor playing 2 characters. And in addition to the body capture, finger and facial data were captured simultaneously. Again, there is the iPhone on the tripod for the facial capture. The facial capture we tested extensively prior to the capturing of this project. We did use facial capture for the snakebite scene as well, but we didn't use it for the Pontianak character, so that was the first one. And for this side project, we skipped all non-essential post-production steps to review the data as early as possible right away in the virtual reality headset, which supports stereopsis, so yeah, 3D. The review confirmed a significant increase in accuracy in comparison to all previous attempts, allowing us to use the motion capture data with very little cleanup effort. These captures are used, as I already said, in the spin-off project that is a virtual reality B-movie homage, but it's not part of the Pontianak VR experience. Okay, so I want to share some of the results, how this looks like in VR. So I have some screen recordings of the VR experience. So this is not rendered or real time. I switched off the sound and I will just share my comments and conclusions over it. So yeah, In creating the first immersive Kampong village in VR, we contribute to the architectural heritage of Singapore, as the audience narrative involvement is highly relevant for a successful virtual heritage application. The research team aims to further develop the virtual Kampong reconstruction into a fully inhabited village with authentic behaving and realistic appearing virtual humans. So a long way to go from here. The idea of utilizing the portable sensor-based suits to capture in a wide open area to simulate actors strolling through a large virtual environment turned out to be overly ambitious in regard to the capabilities of the low-cost system. Movements in space, such as walking and falling, produced high levels of inaccuracies, which require manual cleanup to an extent of being uneconomical for a small research team. In summary, the portable low-cost system is a viable alternative for non-commercial artistic projects working in VR experiences, but only if extensive resources for manual cleanup are available or if stationary actions are sufficient. Although creating near photorealism for advanced tasks such as virtual environments and digital humans have become de facto possible and are in reaching distance, they still pose tremendous challenges for a small research team with limited resources. In creating a VR recreation of scenes from Pontianak, we are not attempting to make an authentic reconstruction. Although we researched the original film rigorously, the VR experience is a creative project designed to immerse and excite audiences in the world of the film rather than the film itself, which remains a lost object. Okay.
Ben, thank you very, very much for that.
Almost, yeah. So
Sorry.
thank you very much. That's it from my side. Thank you for your attention and many greetings from Singapore. Looking forward to some questions. Hopefully see you all next year in London in person.
Well,
Thanks
we'll
for inviting me.
So, yeah.